Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Press YYZ. We're the only Canadian gaming podcast that you can catch live on Twitch every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as podcast services and YouTube every Thursday. My name is Nathan McInerney, and today I'm joined by Kozi. Kozi, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite fantastic, Nathan. It's been a challenging couple of days here in Montreal. On Monday, it was very sunny and very warm out. On Tuesday, it was also pretty warm, albeit dipping a little bit cold towards the end of the day. Today, real rainy, real cold. I really wish that Montreal summer was here to stay.
All right. Well, that's hopefully fingers crossed soon. We got snow. We had snow on the ground this morning too. So Fingers crossed we'll see that soon.
We got a little bit of snow towards the end of the day, but it didn't stick. But the fact that we got it at all is just real disappointing.
100%. No, I don't disagree with you at all. Alongside Kozi, we have AJ Frazier. AJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? I don't know where that southern drawl came from right there, but I have it now, and it ain't gonna stick for the whole podcast, but
thank God.
I don't know what's happening with me.
All right. And now we have not a new face to the show, as we have a guest, Tucker. Tucker. Is Tucker our first returning guest?
No.
Oh, is that true?
No.
No, Ben.
Yeah, my friend Ben was on.
We also have had Haley on the podcast a couple of times, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. So not our first returning guest, but we have a guest from a prior episode, Tucker. Tucker, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Your hopes up there.
Yeah, no, I'm always ecstatic to be the first of anything because that doesn't happen to me very often. But hey, it's always a great day to be back on a podcast. That means that I did something right the first time. But that first time was a long time ago because I actually joined you guys for the 72nd episode of Press YYZ. I did my research before this, which was after E3 of last year, which just feels like ages ago.
What's an E3?
Yeah, well, that doesn't happen anymore. Good point.
Yeah.
So I can't be the annual guest for the post E3 episodes because guess what? Nope.
It ain't happening.
Oh, God.
Well, Tucker, why don't you let everybody know a bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel, believe it or not. White guy doing a podcast about video games. It's the craziest thing you've ever heard. But I have a YouTube channel called Backlog Banter. Me and three of my friends do a variety of different shows. Not all of our stuff is about video games. In fact, our only consistent show is about movies. Which is where we're reviewing all of the Oscar Best Picture winners and ranking them in random order, which is quite a bit of fun. That's called the Quest for the Bestest. But we also do 2 to 3 video game based videos a week. We cover the Marvel content, whatever that's coming out, and any other shows or ideas that we have come our way. We've got a lot of stuff on there. We've just passed 750 subscribers, and we've also just passed 600 videos. So it shows you the kind of clip that we're working at.
I'd seen that recently in Quest for the Bestest, you had done a review of the 2011 motion picture, The Artist.
Yes.
That movie, when I saw that movie, I was like, wow, what a blast from the past. I remember that movie being good, but I also feel like it kind of fell through the cracks of time, if I got to be honest.
It definitely hasn't had staying power.
Yeah. What I do remember...
Which one's that?
That was the one where, if you remember, Nathan, shortly after that movie came out, Nintendo hired the dog actor from that movie as their official spokes dog to promote Nintendogs plus cats.
I don't remember that. It's not The Disaster Artist. That's a different movie.
No,
yeah, that's 6 years later. It's a 2017 film. But the Artist is a film that recaptures, quote unquote, the glory days of cinema. It's a silent film. It's in black and white. It's in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it sort of plays with the advent of sound cinema in the 1930s in a really interesting way. I think it's a phenomenal film. It's not quite as popular as most Best Picture winners are, but it's a very good movie.
It's kind of like it's like a more art house take on that movie, Singing in the Rain. Like, it's about the transition in Hollywood from like non-speaking movies to speaking movies and the trials and tribulations that came with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nathan, you're the host.
Sweet.
Take the rudder.
All right.
Steer us into the rocks.
I was like, are we done talking about The Artist? But
we're
cool.
never done.
That's awesome. Check out Backlog Banter. Make sure you drop us. It's a subscribe on YouTube. On YouTube. It confuses me because I say drop a follow on Twitch.
Gotcha.
Just a little bit of housekeeping. I don't know if you guys know this, but Kozi Cooking with Kozi Season 3 is complete, and Kozi is returning to streaming on his personal Twitch channel.
Yes,
and he's going to be kicking things off with a Pokemon Emerald Luke run. A news Luke?
Oh dear! I didn't think
we're here to school you, Nathan.
When I asked you to read this up in the run of show, I didn't think that you wouldn't know how to pronounce Nuzlocke.
So I did know how to pronounce Nuzlocke. I just thought it'd be fun to say it wrong.
Yeah,
because it's a silly word.
I'll keep this real short and sweet. I'd been meaning to find a way to kind of get back into streaming video games on my main Twitch channel after completing Kozi vs. Cooking Season 3. You might remember how last month I finally completed Pokemon Emerald's Battle Frontier after many years of trying. I put the game down and I kind of got the itch to go back. And so I figured, you know what? I've never done a Nuzlocke run with Emerald, so what if I did that next? And so, yeah, expect more details on this upcoming fun little series soon.
All right, sweet. Do you have a schedule that you have planned for it? Or is
TBD.
it just going to be all over the place? TBD. Okay.
TBD.
No problems.
When do you feel like it?
So just as an FYI for my streaming at @the_nmac, and make sure you're following me, please. It helps. We are doing our Press YYZ review game for the next section. Turnip Boy commits tax evasion.
Nathan, say it right.
Press YYZ review game.
Review-wee.
You got to get your own terminology correct.
I'm trying not to use that terminology. I still think it's a bad name.
To catch you, just very quickly to catch you up to speed, Tucker. Starting earlier this year, we decided, you know what? Let's play some games along with our audience so that we can all have something to kind of mutually talk about every couple of weeks. Nobody else came up with a better term for this new segment on the show, so I proposed YYZ Reviewy.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I thought Kyle had one. Kyle had one that was better. That's
the power of democracy right there.
Okay, anyways, regardless, tomorrow night I'll be playing Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. And I'm hoping to do it in the entire stream and just finish it from start to beginning, full completion, because it says completion's 3 hours on it. So if you want to join me, that'd be a lot of fun, because I don't know what this game is. I just know the title, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, and I want to play it.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
That being said, I will not be streaming, and I will actually be away from the podcast for the next 2 weeks, as I have trips to Halifax and Montreal planned for work. So you may have some impromptu streams when I'm back home that I'll just announce on Twitter. So please keep your eyes open for those. But yeah, and then we'll get back to normal schedule, hopefully when I'm back. Okay, so that being said, I think that's all the homework. I'm seeing something here that says it's no longer games or gaming. It's games or gaming.
Yeah.
Is that from...
I wanted the world to know that it's no longer games spelt GAMES. It's games spelt GAEMS. And by extension of that, gaming is now gaming, GAEMING.
Why is that in our housekeeping?
Because we got to let the people know, much like how we need to let people know about your streaming efforts and absence, much like how we need to let
this
them know
is a video
about,
game news podcast, after all. If you're not covering the change of the word game, what are you doing with your life?
Is that why you spelled that old YouTube channel you used to be part of, Gamers, with a V?
I didn't make that connection. And also, we put E in the incorrect place when we spelled out that YouTube channel's name. The correct place, of course, being after the A, as it is now to be said.
As it is ordained.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so...
Done.
Let's just
done
move
with
past
that.
This part. Oh, man. Okay, so let's get into what we've been playing. Kozi, you've not been playing much because you've been traveling.
Yeah, I mean... when I was in the process of traveling and resting and traveling again, I did get in some more hours in both Pokemon Legends Arceus and Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. I was actually quite happy to come back to Pokemon Legends Arceus because I put that game down after I beat it, and I'd been meaning to like delve a little bit more into its post game. That game's still very fun. Unfortunately, my right Joy-Con is beginning to seriously drift, and it's a little bit too bad because it had stayed non-drifting for a couple of years after I repaired it. But alas, that it does not appear to be the case anymore. So I'm going to have to figure things out there. Outside of my little bits of gaming here and there, however, I did do something very special this past weekend, which is that for the first time in quite some time, I got together with the two of you guys, Nathan and AJ, in person.
If you did.
Why didn't I know about this?
In the flesh.
Why didn't you know about your own trip? Yeah.
Nobody told me about this.
You gotta communicate these things.
Yeah, it was also a weird fever dream.
Yes. No, Kozi came down. We met him in Toronto. We had dinner at a restaurant called Sibo, not the first one I went to. I went to the wrong one initially. But yeah, we had a good time. Got caught up. We met a few other people from the Kind of Funny Toronto community there and had dinner, and I think it was a good old time.
It was a really good time. I think the restaurant was a little fancy for us, but the food was delicious. And yeah, it was right downtown Toronto. What was it you were in town for, Kozi? I forgot to.
Yeah, this is just a heads up. Going to take a slightly more serious turn on what has been a very laugh-worthy podcast thus far. So in 2020, it was the 75th anniversary of the exodus of Slovenian immigrants from the country of Slovenia at the conclusion of World War II. My grandparents on my father's side were both from Slovenia, and for this reason, we were set to celebrate it that year, but then it got repeatedly delayed because of the coronavirus pandemic, and it was only this past weekend that they finally held said celebration. Or rather, commemoration. Celebration makes it sound like something worth celebrating. Let me tell you, the Exodus was definitely, the World War II and the Slovenian Exodus, definitely not things that anyone would ever want to celebrate if you knew some of the inside details into what happened there. But yeah, that's what I was primarily in Toronto for.
I remember you thinking about that trip way back when, and then
yes,
I couldn't remember if it like happened last year and you did something about it, but then
there were a number of false positives because the place that organized this event kept saying, all right, it's going to happen on this date. Oh no, there's a new coronavirus variant. Now we have to delay it again. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, I know you talked about this a bunch of times and it getting postponed. So I'm glad you finally got a chance to do it and finally go have it happen.
Yeah,
and not celebrate, but what
commemorate.
What would the
commemorate
it. Yeah.
And I'm glad that we jumped the gun on this now because, we will see what happens with the coronavirus pandemic over the course of the next year. We could very easily end up in a situation next fall where it really rears up again and a meeting like this can't happen for the next little while. So I'm glad that we took advantage of it while we could.
Fingers crossed we don't have that happen. God, please don't let that happen. Okay, well, Kozi, any highlights beyond our visit for our dinner that you'd want to share?
I just want to say that Toronto's a real nice city. It has been quite a few years since I last visited it, again, due to the coronavirus pandemic, and I really love that place. I don't know if I'll ever come to live there, but I feel like I could very comfortably live there if I were given the opportunity to.
It's a nice city. Real good hockey team. Right, Nathan?
Nope. Worst hockey team. The worst hockey team ever.
I don't know, man.
I think you guys are confused.
They got a really good player on there right now who just scored
one really good
goals.
Player? Yep. One
Maybe
really
two.
Good player, eh? How many Stanley Cups since '67 have they gotten?
I can't wait to say how many Stanley Cups since whatever Montreal's last one was.
I don't do Montreal. I'm a Penguins guy.
Oh,
We got a bunch of
that's
Reese
not
cups.
what you've been saying.
Yeah,
That's not what you've been saying. You've been saying you've been a Habs fan for the longest time.
that's a lie.
Okay.
All I have is Penguin stuff. I've got a Penguins box of Kleenex so that Leafs fans can dry their tears.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
So, just as an FYI.
He's a bad Ontarian.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
I like the Blue Jays and Raptors. Those are the two respectable teams from Toronto.
So when they win, will they be respectable?
No.
That's the only metric that he judges teams by, of course.
Yeah, but he just said no. So like,
no,
what's the
because
what is the truth
still
here?
the Leafs. Nothing will make them respectable.
There's still the NHL
Leafs,
grammatical error. I get it.
The Leafs play Philly in London typically every year, or the Flyers. Although they haven't played them in a few years because of COVID and everything. But they would come to the John Labatt Center and they would play. And my honest wish is for the arena to fall and kill both teams and all the fans.
Wow. Wow.
Now, this makes me glad that I'm not a sports person, period. But at least I'm not.
Neither
if I
am
was into sports,
but...
I wouldn't want to be this fervent.
So I worked in a hat store for many years and had to deal with Leafs fans telling me about how this was going to be the year for a long time. And a lot of times they told me this was going to be the year. And guess what? It was never the year. And they never learned. So it's what's that syndrome when you fall in love with your patient? Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm?
Is that
Leafs
what it
fans
is?
have Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
I thought it was when you fall in love with the person that's like holding you hostage.
Oh. No, you might be right about that, but they're
Yeah,
similar
actually,
enough.
you're right.
And one of them, it's a correct term, so let's just use it. Sounds scientific.
Yes. Anyways,
Makes it
So
sound
understood what he meant.
we'll get past that. I got a few things I want to talk about that I've been doing. So let's just start with my new toy. I've got a Stream Deck. Yay. I think we talked about it last week on the podcast, but I've actually had a chance for a week to use it. If you do any streaming, believe it or not, this is a helpful tool to streaming.
What?
Yep.
I think that's what it's marketed as.
Sorry, quick timeout before we get back to the Stream Deck talk, which I'm very excited to learn about, by the way, Nathan. I Wikipedia'd it. Apparently, the Florence Nightingale effect is a trope where a caregiver falls in love with their patient, even if very little communication or contact takes place outside of basic care.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Even the name makes a lot more sense than the Stockholm syndrome. So, okay. Well, thank you for checking that, Kozi.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
I was coming to Press YYZ for my psychological learning information.
Sometimes it's anatomy, sometimes it's psych, sometimes it's about keyblades made from Tommy Lee's members. You never know what you're going to get.
No, of course not.
So yeah, this is my setup Stream Deck. See, I got custom little icons and everything. I'm still figuring out how to use all like cool features, and I know you guys are going to show me cool stuff, but it has immensely already helped being able to even hit that create clip button. And rating is much easier from it now. And I can do a speed test right from a button.
Ooh.
And it runs the speed test on the internet. So if you are a streamer or just doing some streaming, it is a very helpful tool. Let me just put it that way. And I wish somebody on this podcast had told me earlier to get one.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely nobody badgered you about that for months. Nobody at all.
Nope. Nobody at all. They also just released like a foot pedal thing.
Yes, I saw that.
It's not very robust, but it's like
3 buttons.
I think it's only 2 or 3 inputs. It's like a left, middle, right, or something like that, and you could set it to like sound effects or transitions or something.
How expensive is the foot pedal?
I don't know.
$120, I think.
Because so I use 2 foot pedals for my like cooking streaming setup. Each of those foot pedals cost about $10. They're pretty flimsy. They're not like especially robust, even compared to what it sounds like the Stream Deck foot pedals are like. But I will say, if you're listening to this podcast and are like, ooh, foot pedals, look into like seeing if you can kind of like get the most minimum viable version of that first.
$115.
Good gosh.
Yeah. And then
sounds like Kozi, sounds like you found a shortcut there.
Well, what I would say is like you should always like if you're going to get like a more expensive webcam, get like a cheaper version first and, upgrade to the more expensive version once you feel like you're ready to kind of make that evolution. Same thing, I think, with foot pedals. Try like a cheaper version first. And if you're like, I like this, but I want something that feels premium, I would only consider getting the Stream Deck version of the foot pedals then.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm happy that you got the Stream Deck, Nathan.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning how to use it, which is nice. We got Project X Talk in the chat. Hey, I hope you're doing good. We had Kevin on there 2 weeks ago. When you weren't here.
I think
Kozi,
2 weeks ago. Welcome.
We talked Kingdom Hearts, so thank you so much for joining the chat. So I'm enjoying my new toy and playing around with it. And there's still a lot I have to learn, but I'm excited to learn more. So, okay, Tucker, you've been playing the worst game series that's ever been created. Why don't you tell us about this?
My newest bit with my friend Abram is playing Sonic games, because Sonic is a franchise that is, believe it or not, kind of iconic, kind of important to video game history. Couple of games, one or two at least. And it's just a series I've never had any affinity for, because I never really found Sonic's attitude or characters or particularly the gameplay to be very compelling. Got a lot of stuff to play in my life. I am 21.
You're 21.
So
I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'm almost twice your age.
True.
Which makes me really sad, actually, right now.
Should make you excited for me.
Yes, I'm excited for you. So you didn't even know Sonic in the heyday of Sonic when it was on the Genesis, because you would not have been born at that point.
Yeah, it would have been difficult. I had not been. Yeah. I didn't even be conceived, of course.
So you never even had to live through Mario versus Sonic and which one was better, and the answer is obviously Mario.
My Sonic experience was that he was the one that was the crossover in Smash Brawl, and of course there was an Olympic Games game with him in it. That was the extent of my Sonic knowledge.
There was also a game where he kissed a human lady.
That Sonic 06 did happen, yeah. But so before this past week, the only Sonic game I had ever played to completion was Sonic Mania. When that came out, that was a big thing, and I certainly gave that a try because it was so popular, and I think that's a good game. But it never drove me to get engaged with the series in a larger way. I watched both the Sonic movies, and recently I was like, you know what? I've been dipping my toes into different corners of the gaming industry that I haven't really experienced before. I'm in Sonic, very big hole in my games experience. So I've played 3 Sonic games in the past week. And my first one was Sonic Forces, which I don't think anyone would recommend as a starting place for Sonic.
What specifically,
I think this game is category terrible.
What specifically inspired you to go to that one first? Of any of the
I had access
3D
to it.
or 2D games?
I had access to it, and my friend was kind of hinting that he wanted to play it. I'm like, how long Sonic Forces? 3 hours? Sure, I'll do that in 2 sittings. So it was really a sort of a spur of the moment thing. There was no nefarious planning going on to get me to play Sonic Forces.
And I feel like that game was definitely given out for free on PlayStation Plus at some point, right?
Yes.
So
that's how I have access to it. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I played that, and that game is probably one of the worst games I've ever played from almost every perspective. I think there's a little bit of fun to be had in sort of the Avengers Infinity War / Endgame sort of scale of all of his friends coming back and all the enemies fighting together and stuff like that. But otherwise, that game is broken on most levels. It's just not fun to play. The story is borked. It's really, I think that's a bad game and not a great start to my Sonic exposure.
So what was your next Sonic game after Sonic Forces?
My next Sonic game after Sonic Forces was Sonic Adventure, which is a 2D game on the Game Boy Advance, which I think is a pretty good game.
Wait, you said Sonic Adventure. You mean Sonic Advance?
Sorry, did I say Adventure? I meant Advance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, is it the Dreamcast one? What?
No, my bad. Sonic Advance. Yeah. I'm sorry. I have that written down on the document, but I must have...
I just want to clarify that with you. I was like, wait a second. Keep going.
My bad. Sonic Advance is just another 2D Sonic game. And it's 2D Sonic, not something I'm particularly experienced with because I've never felt particularly compelled by it. And I thought this game was totally fine. It didn't match the creativity or quality of Mania, but obviously that has literally a decade of a plus of design on it. But it was fine. People like it a lot, but I just thought it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the like Game Boy Advance and DS Sonic games is those games like managed to be pretty consistently solid at a time where like people would claim that every single Sonic game that was coming out was terrible. And so I do kind of feel bad that, you know, they tend to get overlooked in that way. But at the same time, like I can see how like Sonic's first foray on the Game Boy Advance might have been a little bit, you know, kind of lackluster compared to
I don't necessarily think it's lackluster in the fact that it is as pretty much as faithful of a conversion of the Genesis gameplay as you can get on a handheld in the early 2000s. It's a very impressive game, but I think there's nothing wrong with it except for that it's a Sonic game, and Sonic games don't really interest me that much from a gameplay perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that especially rings true for the third Sonic game I played, which is Sonic the Hedgehog, the original. Yep. On Genesis, which I played through there's so many Genesis collections. There's one on the Switch, Classics collection. I don't even remember what it's called. And that is, I think an interesting game because of how surprisingly fully formed Sonic came right out of the womb. Just like, you know, Dr. Eggman, Green Hill Zone, Rings, Chaos Emeralds, all of that. But also, there's, I would argue, only one good stage in that game, and it's Green Hill Zone, and the rest of them are just mediocre to bad.
So I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast. Back in the day, the Wii was actually a pretty good Sonic the Hedgehog machine because you got a lot of mainline games like Sonic Unleashed. You got a lot of spin-offs like the, you know, Sonic and Mario Olympic games. And also you had the Virtual Console offering a lot of like old school Sonic games.
Sure.
I made the mistake back in the day of not realizing that there was a difference between the Sega Genesis and Sega Master System version of Sonic 1. And so I got the Master System version of the game because it was like slightly cheaper, like $3 cheaper. Yeah. But when you're, you know, way younger,
because
that
it's a worse game,
more.
Probably.
Basically, what it is it's this game, but like made for the Master System's like capabilities. So it just looks and feels crappier. But like that's not, you know, because of a lack of trying on the part of the developers. They were just working with limited hardware, and I don't think I've ever. I don't want to say I've never played this version of Sonic 1, but like, I feel like that one, unfortunately, kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And I don't think I've ever really kind of felt motivated to go back to this one in particular. I guess if I ever do go back to this game, it'll probably be in the form of Sonic Mania at some point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, I would argue very different game, similar in a gameplay format wise, but I think this game just shows a clear lack of design intent in a couple things because they had never made a game like this before. So you're running into spikes all the time. There's a ton of enemies and obstacles that are just kind of not fun to face, and a number of them, and infamously Marble Zone. A number of the stages are just slow, and you have to wait around on floating platforms, which is just not particularly engaging for Sonic's gameplay style. But I would argue that Sonic Advance is an okay game, but so far my Sonic experience has been very negative.
Do you know what Sonic game? Sorry, go ahead, AJ. I've been talking a lot.
No. You say your thing.
Okay.
I was gonna slightly pivot there.
Gotcha. Do you know what Sonic game you're going to be playing next?
I'd like to play 2 because I just played 1 last night. I'd like to play them back to back just to sort of see, because obviously 2 a lot more highly regarded,
right?
And I assume a better game. I don't doubt that I'll enjoy it more, but I'm kind of interested to just experience more Sonic games to sort of adapt myself to its gameplay style, because I still don't find the gameplay and the platforming and the quote unquote combat of jumping on enemies to be particularly satisfying. Like I don't find the levels very memorable because it just feels like I'm getting spat out into a bowl of spaghetti where my character just kind of goes all over the place and it's visually cluttered. I like the music, I like the pixel art, but Sonic, I don't know if it's for me.
So here, and you have just nailed my issue with Sonic.
Okay, great.
Sonic is hard to control.
I agree.
It puts speed first, at a pace
and fun second,
and nobody can control. and literally you just kind of end up where you end up. The combat never feels good. There's a system with the rings where as long as you get one of the rings when you're hit, you can continue to take hits, and you drown a lot because the water sucks.
Yes. Oh my God, Labyrinth Zone in Sonic 1 is one of the most obnoxious underwater levels I've ever played.
So, and they never strayed from that formula. And then meanwhile, you've got something like Super Mario World, which is a very tight, very like, have you played Super Mario World, Tucker?
I've played all the 2D Marios, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So imagine being a kid and your friends telling you how great Sonic is, and then you go and play it after playing Super Mario World.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that Mario World's a way better game. It's not a game I don't have a huge amount of reverence for 2D Mario because I frankly I just don't think I'm a straight up 2D platforming fan in general. But I like all the Mario games that I've played, and Sonic is like a little over half of the games that I've played from the Sonic franchise. I don't really enjoy it.
I think if I was in your position, Tucker, I would just go ahead and like check out the best that the series has to offer next to,
Sonic
give it
Unleashed.
its fairest shake. Well, okay, here's the funny thing, AJ. Back when I first got...
the Sonic levels of Sonic Unleashed are actually kind of good. The Werehog levels are a little where it goes weird.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When I first got my Xbox Series X, I asked some people, hey, what games should I check out on this console? And they said, oh, you should check out Sonic Unleashed. I'm like, okay, haha, very funny. They said, no, here's the thing. When Sonic Unleashed first came out on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, it was plagued by really horrible slowdown and bad frame rate. However, with the processing power of the Xbox Series X, those issues with the game, like a decade later, have been alleviated, and it's actually a very solid platformer. I actually was very tempted to check that out for myself when I first got my Series X. I didn't do so because Sonic Unleashed is not available on Game Pass, and I didn't want to spend like $30 to just see if they fix the frame rate. But
I think it costs like $15 on the store or something like that.
If you have a copy of Sonic for the Xbox 360 bumming around, maybe, insert it in your Series X and, see how it fares.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's an interesting point that I hadn't really thought about is how the processing power would impact Sonic's slowdown, because notoriously a lot of Sonic games do have some slowdown issues. But unfortunately,
ironically,
exactly. I do not have a Series X. I have a Series S, so I can't stick discs in it if I even wanted to, which is a little unfortunate. But if I ever do need to play Sonic Unleashed, actually, I think I own Sonic Unleashed on the Wii, but I think I'd rather play it on Series.
I actually only ever played Sonic Unleashed on the Wii myself. I never actually originally played the PS3 360 versions. It's interesting because I remember back in the day, like IGN assigned different reviewers to review like the Wii version and PlayStation 2 version of Sonic Unleashed versus the 360 PS3 version of the game. The person that reviewed the like PS2 Wii version gave the games like a 7 or like a 7.2. Like they're like, it's not great, but it's fine. Person that reviewed it on 360 and PS3 gave it like a 4.5 out of 10. And it's like,
interesting.
Like what I've wondered to this day is, did they rate it that much lower on the HD consoles because the reviewer just had like that much lower of an opinion of Sonic Unleashed compared to the person that reviewed it on Wii? Or
were they not properly optimized?
Right. And was the Wii version actually like pretty well optimized by comparison?
Interesting. Yeah. I think there's probably a gameplay comparison out there somewhere where you got the windows showing how it runs on different consoles. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't have a huge amount of interest in playing that game. The other Sonic games that I have access to include CD, Sonic Spinball on the Genesis collection. I went halfsies with my friend on Colors Ultimate on PlayStation. So I've got a number of Sonic games I can still go to try. Colors and Generations, and of course 2 and 3 are the ones that I hear praised quite a lot. So I'm interested to get my own perspective on those as someone who's not a huge fan of Sonic. I don't have particularly high hopes because there's a lot of popular, famous, classic games that I don't really enjoy to the extent that most people do. But we've all got our holes in our knowledge and our weird opinions on things.
All right. Okay, so Tucker, at some point you're gonna have to update us on your adventures with Sonic.
Sure, yeah.
And let us
Sonic
know
Adventures is the thing to call
your Sonic Adventures.
Yep. Adventures 2 Battle. Yeah.
Yes. If you want to, there's a lot of fan fiction that you can read about Biggs the cat.
Yeah. I'll check those out. Supplement my knowledge.
Give us a good title here.
I don't think it's appropriate, but I think you should go check some of that out as part of your Sonic journey. My understanding is it's there. Okay. So we've talked Sonic Forces. We're going to come back to one more game that you've played in a few seconds, Tucker.
Sure.
Let's spend a few seconds, though. Last night on Twitch, I was playing WWE 2K22, and actually the brand new DLC pack with 5 new wrestlers to that game have come out. So I just want to highlight a bit about that. Tucker, are you a wrestling person or not?
No, not particularly.
No. Okay, just curious.
Can't add anything to this conversation.
Nope.
I'll just sit here and look
to your knowledge. So this is Yokozuna, who was a wrestler back in the mid 90s. So he just was added to the game. They as well added Umanga and Rikishi, who are both Samoan style wrestlers as well. Very big. Actually, Kozi, there's a spot near the end of this match where I actually make the ring collapse. Oh, wait, is this it? Maybe you got the right spot. No. So, and make the whole ring collapse doing a superplex. And it ends the match right there. But so they added Yokozuna, they added Umanga, they added Rikishi. They also added Casey Catanzaro, who is from American Ninja Warrior. And she can do really crazy things. And then Omos, who are both currently active members of the WWE roster. Probably should have been in the game to begin with. But character models look good. The movesets were fun. They added a few really cool new moves to the game for this. There'll be, I think this is the first of 5 drops. So, but yeah, we just had a good time checking those out. So this is a quicker thing, but if you have WWE 2K22 and you're interested in those wrestlers and you haven't picked up the season pass, it's a good thing to pick up. All right. Okay. Tucker, tell me about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2007.
Yeah, the original game. I put that in the doc just to make sure that it was clear that I was playing the original, the one that was influential and springboarded Call of Duty to a larger quality and fame, and not the 2019 version, which I have no thoughts on. I'm sure it's a totally fine game, but I wanted to make sure I was clear. I have, before the beginning of this year, I had never played a Call of Duty game in my life. I was classically not a big first-person shooter guy, not a big military shooter guy, especially. So my experience with that was literally none. So along with my friends Daniel Navroli, who is one of the hosts on Nordic Gods podcast, and Andrew Roscoe, we have been going through the Call of Duty series in chronological order. So I have now played Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, and Modern Warfare. And Modern Warfare is a really good game. I know that's not a huge controversy, but I was surprised by how much I like this game, considering I know very little previous experience with Call of Duty. This is very different from the original trilogy, but I was really blown away by how impressed the game
Did you play the original version of Modern Warfare or the remastered edition?
Yeah, so I own to springboard this series. I went out and bought physical copies of every Call of Duty game that I could get my hands on. My last one is actually Call of Duty Ghosts, which I'm currently being sent in the mail from Canada, actually, from Mitch George. He's mailing me his copy.
Who is that? What?
Yeah, you know, we don't talk about him.
Guy.
Yeah, that guy. Call of Duty Ghosts. But so yeah, I'm playing or played it on PS3. I've got all my copies on PlayStation.
If I had known earlier, I could have sent you my PS4 copy
Of Ghosts.
Ghosts.
No, yeah, that's what he's sending me.
Yeah, if I had known, I could have sent you mine because I also don't want it.
I actually sent out a couple tweets over the past few months about, hey, who's got a copy of Call of Duty Ghosts?
So Call of Duty Ghosts was a launch title for the PS4, essentially,
True.
right?
Yeah.
And
Cross-gen.
so I needed something to play, something that I would be familiar with. I had already been off the Call of Duty bandwagon for quite a while up to that point, because it just got so samey and so overplayed, right? And then in the trailers of that, there was I'll be sure not to like spoil the story for you.
Good. Yeah.
What made me want to buy the game was in the trailers. It looked like what it looked like is you can you can go to space at some point. It's like there's a whole friggin' mission on like the International Space Station or something like that. And that does happen. But I was less than impressed by it, let's say, and less than impressed by the everything that came after it, that I just sort of put it down eventually and just said, nah, no, I'm done.
Yeah, no, I haven't played that game. I'll get to it in probably like 6-7 months, whatever. Like, it's gonna take me a while to get there. We're doing one a month. I should have clarified that. So it's April. I just played Modern Warfare. World at War comes up next. I'll be playing that in a couple weeks. What's your guys' experience with the original Modern Warfare? Because that's obviously it's a game that a lot of people, especially older than me and my age, have a lot of memories with.
Me specifically, I remember. Okay, so 2007, I was 17, and it was very impactful in its storytelling specifically. I remember getting super hyped by the gameplay trailers back then, because like it looked like a ghillie suit and camouflage and stuff like actually worked in like the environment. Like
in the one
it looked like it actually
used. Yes, they do.
Right? And so like they're, and they showed you running around mildly topical right now, Chernobyl. But oh no, that might be super topical now. Might it? It might be.
I mean, yes.
Oh no.
Reasons.
Oh no. Well, good luck with that. But no, there's a very, very specific scene in that that was so impactful, and I also won't spoil that for you. It involved crawling on the ground.
I beat the game, so we can talk about it if you'd like.
Oh yeah, right. That's fine. The nuke.
Yes, of course. Wow, yeah.
The nuke, right? And so, back in the day, like that was just like holy shit, right? And then
can't believe they actually
you had to cinematically crawl out of the
helicopter.
The helicopter, right? And you just see the mushroom, and you're like, oh shit. And then that's it for that character. But the for me, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it's bread and butter was obviously the multiplayer. That's what kind of started it all in terms of like making Call of Duty what it is today.
Which is fantastic, and everyone loves it, and Vanguard's a masterpiece.
Yeah, of course. It's something. No, it was frustrating back in the day, because at this, like not too long before that, Halo 3 had come out.
Yeah.
And Halo 3 and Call of Duty, in their own way, both standardized how first person shooters should control. Call of Duty with the left trigger, right trigger, and Halo with like all the other button mappings on it. And so going back and forth at the time was incredibly frustrating, I would say. Because going back to Halo, I kept trying to aim with my trigger, and you couldn't. Now you can these days, so I guess COD won, but I'll never admit that.
Yeah, it's definitely obviously a very influential game. It made Call of Duty what it is today. You can joke about that however you'd want. I think my only real critique of the game is, and this is just a trope across games of this generation, especially shooters, is it's just so gray. The game is so gray, and enemies blend into the background, and all the environments are just different shades of gray with a little bit of a green or blue or dark red for the blood of your enemies. But it can make it. I think it's a very visually detailed game. It's a very impressive game, especially for early PS3 generation. But it's just so fucking gray. And of course, that was a problem with Gears. That was a problem with Resident Evil 4. Like this is a thing across the board. But
all the games back then had that issue. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember hearing also that specifically with the 360, a lot of games looked brown and gray. Not necessarily because that was their original intent, but because there was something wrong with how it processed color. Like they got the algorithm wrong. And so in order to make it correct, they had to put in like they eventually had to figure out like how a separate algorithm to compensate for that color algorithm.
Yeah, sure.
Because like yes, they were making things deserty looking and very like gray urban looking for a lot of cases, but it wasn't as vibrant as it should have been, and there was something wrong with it. Yeah, apparently in the very early days.
I'll have to look up that information. Yeah.
All right,
but nobody else played it.
So I missed the first one, but started with Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, okay,
I think that's when it blew up. I think like Modern Warfare 1, I remember coming out and people were like talked about it, but everybody was playing Modern Warfare 2 because of how good Modern Warfare 1 was.
Yeah, I've just got the information on hand here. Modern Warfare sold just over 17 million. Modern Warfare 2 had just over 25 million, so it was definitely a larger deal.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, and I feel like it's much the rise of like digital sales in the last little while.
Yeah,
probably impacts that sort of number. Because if it was as available to be digital and as convenient back then to be digital, I think a lot more people would have. But in terms of like, how did other people how did so many more people buy the second one over the first? You had people who missed it altogether, like Nathan, but then you have to wonder, well, how many of those original people actually did miss it and didn't just get it first or secondhand at GameStop or something, right?
Yeah.
So, who can say?
All right. Okay. Well, let's put a nip in the Call of Duty talk.
That's fine.
And we'll just jump quickly to a game I bought earlier today and have already put 2 or 3 hours into it. And I'm sure I'll be talking about it more. But Persona 4 Arena Ultimax.
Ooh.
Okay.
Here we go.
So this is the remastered
real game talk.
This is the remaster of the PS3 Xbox 360 fighting game. I never knew why it came out on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
As there isn't a single Persona title there. And this remaster did not come out on Xbox 360. It's just PS4 and Switch. But it's a full remake. It's been locked on the PS3 generation, really unplayable. So it's amazing to actually play it right now. They've upped it to 60 frames per second. It still looks gorgeous as an Arc System Works fighting game. I've gotten through the training and I've forgotten the mechanics, but you have like your character's light hit and hard hit, and then you've got your other two buttons are mapped to a Persona light hit and hard hit. And you've got a SP at the bottom, so you have to watch your SP gauge as you cast spells and stuff, which is really interesting for a fighting game when you think about it, because you can try and use your Persona and maybe not have access to it.
Yeah.
So, and you can do more moves which cost more SP, depending upon how you want to do it and make them strong, like make stronger versions. But it's a matter of like you got to build it up and then make more. So it's got a pretty great lineup of characters. I have to just play through an arcade mode today and all the training to get myself up for it. I'm considering running through this on a stream for the story mode, because it's got it not only does it have the story mode from Persona 4 Ultimax or Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, it also has the story mode from the original Persona 4 Arena.
Have you played either of them at all yet?
The story modes, I haven't touched them yet on this version. I played the original Arena back in the day. It's been a little while. So I'm just curious if number one, how long it would take me to go through the story modes. I should actually look at that and how many weeks I'd be dedicating to it a few hours at a time.
It's not that bad. I mean, it'll take you quite a few hours, but I personally had no problem like savoring my time with them back in the day when these games first came out. What I really appreciated about the story mode in the original Persona 4 Arena is that it offered you like time into the kind of interiority of many of the characters that you became friends with in the original vanilla Persona 4, but that you never really got to see the game from their perspective of, for example. So there's an entire section where you can play as Kanji. There's an entire section where you can play as Chie. And I just appreciated being able to like experience the world through their eyes and through their thoughts. And that's something that also carries over to Persona Arena Ultimax's story, but that one's a little bit more kind of plot focused, where I feel like the original Arena story is a little bit more kind of character focused, and I didn't enjoy that as much. But both are still very enjoyable.
So yeah, I'm sure I'll be talking about that more. I don't want to dedicate a huge amount of time to it. There's a sale on it on the PSN. I got my alert this morning saying a game on your wish list is for sale. So if you guys want to see me play that, let me know. And when I get back from doing a bunch of touring around the country, maybe we can do some episodes of that for the stream. So let me know. Anyways, all right. I think that covers everything we've been playing. We got through it all, guys. It's 9 o'clock.
Congratulations, everyone.
So now I've been told, and here's the thing. I'm hosting this episode, but I actually have no idea what we're doing next. Kozi has a topic of the show that he has kept close to his vest and not told anybody.
Oh, that's exciting.
So,
we can have a reveal here, and the three of us.
My guess is he wants to redo the game that he missed about Kingdom Hearts while he was not on.
No, my guess is he's going to make us all fight to the death.
I mean, there probably will be some fighting involved, but not in any way that you're probably imagining. So here's the thing, and I want to preface this by saying this, in theory, should not be an especially long topic of the show, but we'll see. We here on Press YYZ talk about food an awful lot. We talk about pizza an awful lot. It's a bit of a meme that we tend to poke at each other over our love or dislike of pineapple on pizza, which, of course, is not something particularly unique to Press YYZ. It's something that comes up
pineapple belongs on
many video game podcasts you'll listen to. And so that got me thinking the other day, you know what? I wonder what the top 5 most common pizza toppings are. For as much as people make fun of it, is pineapple on pizza actually secretly one of the top 5 most beloved pizza toppings of all time? So I went searching online. I found this article from February 8th, 2021 from YouGov America that polled more than 6,000 American adults to find out what the 5 most popular pizza toppings were. And this is what they came up with. And what I'm about to read, by the way.
Are you telling us?
Yes.
Can we guess them?
Yeah, sure.
Is there a game, or are we just going to talk about pizza?
This is not the topic of the show, by the way. I was not going to make you guess the toppings, but sure. Everybody go around the room, say one guess. AJ, you go first.
Cheese doesn't count? Yes, no?
Yeah, I was going to ask, is cheese a topping?
We're way overcomplicating this. AJ, guess something.
Is this Family Feud style? Can I say pepperoni and it be number 1 on the list?
Just say anything.
Anything. No, pepperoni.
Okay, Tucker.
Let's go with I guess if you say Canadian bacon, then you also get pineapple as well for Hawaiian pizza, but I'm going to say Canadian bacon.
Okay. Nathan.
Mushrooms.
Okay. So this is in no particular order in terms of the amount of people that prefer it. The top 5 pizza toppings are extra cheese, onions, mushrooms, sausage, and pepperoni. Unfortunately, Canadian bacon or just vanilla bacon was not amongst the results.
Gotcha.
So I saw these statistics.
I don't even know why I said that.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I mean,
you tried.
It's a pretty good pizza topping. It's too bad more people don't like it.
Yeah, it works well.
I saw these results. I thought, it'd be pretty fun to bring this up on the podcast, but I don't really know how we can make a topic of the show out of this. And so I went kind of scrolling through Twitter to see what kind of gaming news is the kind of current hubbub, what people are talking about. And I saw, Nintendo Switch Sports is going to be releasing very soon. All the reviews are up for it. Seems to be getting solid reviews. It's not like absolutely blowing people away, but I also feel like that's not the kind of game that necessarily needs to score like 10 out of 10s to, get a ton of people to buy into it. That got me, reminiscing back on my time playing Wii Sports on the original Wii and how much fun I had with that, relatively simplistic game with all of its, 5 endearing sports. Wait a minute. There are 5 beloved pizza toppings. There are 5 Wii Sports. Here's what I'd like to propose. Okay. We, over the course of potentially the next 2 minutes or the next hour, are going to figure out which of these 5 pizza toppings correspond to which of the 5 original Wii Sports. And then, with the help of tiermaker.com, we are going to figure out where we would rank each of these Wii Sports and pizza topping combinations in relation to each other.
I have a question.
So this is just the initial 5 games?
Yes.
Which is what? Boxing, bowling, golf, tennis,
baseball.
Okay, yeah.
Boxing came on Play?
What?
What's
Play? What are you talking about?
The Wii Play. Remember there was like the fake, not fake, but they released
the
like
one that came with like
a
Wii remote, right?
A Wii remote, and it had more games.
Oh, that was a different. Yes, that was an entirely different game. No, those were all like
we're talking
mini games.
Kozi's talking the pack-in that came with the Wii.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying boxing wasn't on the initial Wii.
Yes, it was.
Sports?
Was it?
Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Using the nunchuck?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
thought it
that.
came on the
That's
next
where
one.
Matt comes from. Everyone knows Matt.
Mac came from Punch-Out.
No, Matt. Matt is this Mii character that you fight in Wii Sports Boxing. He's the black guy, the bald black guy with the beard.
Oh, I have no idea who Matt is.
It's a character.
The guy
Everyone's mad because he's technically not officially in Switch Sports.
The guy that you're getting him confused with, Nathan, is Doc. Doc is from Punch-Out.
Oh, yeah. But Little Mac is what he said, Mac, yeah.
No, I was thinking Mac when he said Matt. They sound similar.
Sure.
So just to kind of set the record straight, with Wii Play, you got shooting range, find me, table tennis, pose me, laser hockey, billiards, fishing, charge, and tanks.
Those
Boxing,
aren't as good.
Here's the thing. They were not as good, but like everybody kind of endured and enjoyed Wii Play because you got a quote unquote free Wii remote. Exactly.
Yeah. The game was $10, $15 extra. So
exactly.
Yeah. And they packaged the Wii Sports Resort, which was the last one, with the Wii Motion Plus, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But technically also not the last one because Wii Sports Club on Wii U exists.
Right. Which I should just briefly mention. No disrespect towards Wii Sports Resort and its sports. Ahead of time, though, I did reach out to Tucker and ask him, hey, like, do you have any experience with Wii Sports Resort? And you basically hadn't had any experience with it. So I said, you know what? Yeah. That's fine. I don't actually have all that much experience with Wii Sports Resort either. So let's keep it confined to the classic 5.
Yeah. Which presumably we've all played Wii Sports in our time.
Yep. Okay.
Absolutely.
AJ, did you have a question earlier that you wanted some illumination on?
Yeah. When you thought of this idea, how high were you?
That's a great question.
Not particularly high. You know, Toronto does have way more potent edibles than Quebec does. So you might want to consider that I might be an unreliable narrator in this particular instance, but I assure you, no edibles were consumed before or during the creation of this topic. All right. Anybody want to throw out any suggestions where we should start with this big pizza pie?
I feel like extra cheese in terms of a topping is the easiest one to start with because it's just kind of the baseline. You're going to have cheese pretty much no matter what. If you're adding extra cheese on it, what sport does that correlate with?
If you're adding,
personally, I would say tennis because I feel like tennis is sort of the baseline sport for Wii Sports, for using that logic.
Yeah, I was slightly. At first I was thinking, okay, well, what is the default sport? Well, all of us played bowling nonstop, right?
True.
Like that was the game. That was the one. Like after we waggled with tennis a little bit, but no, you're right. Like the one that kind of sold it for everybody was tennis and being able to swing the racket, right?
Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I had all the plastic attachments that went on the Wiimote to make them into a golf club or a tennis racket or whatever.
Oh, that's fun.
Little baseball bat. God, I wonder what happened to those. But does anyone have an argument with my logic here? Because I'm gonna lead the charge here if no one else will.
No, I think.
For it. Okay.
I think that makes sense. The extra cheese is the tennis. I get what you're saying about tennis and it's back and forth. It's funny, you guys are talking about how people play bowling, and I'm thinking I play golf. But
golf was probably my favorite because I like the visual. They're very visually pleasing courses in Wii Sports Golf.
Yeah, it was very kind of effective and to the point. It wasn't like an absolutely like standout like graphical masterpiece of a game, but like it did what it needed to do and it did it well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any disagreements with you putting tennis as extra cheese. I just want to see how we're all feeling about some of the other pair-ups though before we put it into stone.
Great.
Finalize it. Understand.
So
okay.
Go ahead.
I could make a suggestion then.
Sure.
Can we make mushrooms golf?
Oh.
What's your connection there? You gotta have some sort of logical connection.
I feel like mushrooms is an acquired taste on pizza. My kids still pick them off. I feel like golf is an acquired taste for people at the same time. Like people don't enjoy watching golf or don't enjoy playing golf games, but once they try them, I think they get a bit of a feel for it.
The issue with mushrooms is a texture thing, just to clarify. As somebody who picks off mushrooms, I can eat small ones because you don't really chew them that much. So I can deal with golf in small bursts, but I don't necessarily want to sit there for a whole full 18 holes. So I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something.
I mean, I'm a mushroom fan. Just to put it out there, and this is going to turn everyone off. They're not going to want to subscribe to Backlog Banter after this. But my ideal pizza is they'll unsubscribe. My ideal pizza is black olives, mushrooms, and anchovies.
Oh my god!
Okay, you lost me at anchovies. I actually like olives.
I put anchovies on fucking every pizza I can.
Ugh,
God, I love them.
So you guys are making compelling, interesting arguments about mushrooms being tennis. No, wait. Mushrooms being golf. Can't get my wires crossed up there. I was actually going to say that mushrooms should be boxing because I felt like of the 5 mini games that were included in the original Wii Sports, boxing was the one where you could tell that they were kind of faking the degree to which your movements were precise the most. And the kind of like just floppiness of the movements kind of remind me of the kind of floppy mouthfeel of mushrooms, particularly on like a store-bought frozen mushroom pizza where the mushrooms just feel real kind of like gummy and soft when you bite into it.
They're also kind of shaped like boxing gloves, you know. You got a mushroom on your hand, punch someone with it. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's explore some of these other things. Here. So what would be sausage? Because actually I was thinking sausage and boxing kind of go together.
For me, I think it's pretty obvious is baseball. I mean, sausage and a baseball bat are basically the same thing, you know?
I see what you're saying. I thought about them like muscular arms.
That's a great point.
See, I would almost make the argument that sausage could actually pair best with golf because it's the sort of thing where like you can like just grab handfuls of pepperoni and shove them in your mouth. You can grab handfuls of cheese and shove them in your mouth. But sausages, you're kind of going to want to kind of take things slow and easy, and you're going to want to like, you know, make sure that you really kind of savor it in the same way that like I feel like golf is more of like kind of a savory sport in that way.
Sure, yeah. It takes some time.
I do enjoy some sausage in my mouth.
Yeah,
well,
everyone knows that, yeah.
Yep, that's a phrase.
All right, well, we've got multiple lines of logic here. AJ, I think you're the only one who has not stepped into this sausage ring, this sausage fest, if you will.
Yep. Okay. You want my sausage in the ring?
Throw your sausages in the ring.
I'm going to throw my sausage here on the table. Yeah. I think you're onto something there, Tucker, with the baseball bat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But also, like, we have to think of when somebody gets sausage on a pizza, it's usually some sort of sausage crumble or some sort of sausage, what is it?
Slices?
Not, it's
you can get like
sometimes
pepperoni.
It's slices. Yeah, sometimes it's slices, but it's
like hot Italian sausage.
Yeah, more often than not, it's like some weird crumbly thing.
Sure, no, that's a great point. You're right. It's not shaped like a baseball bat when it's on the pizza.
Correct.
Excellent point. Though that would also mess up another one of my lines of logic. The other line of logic being an onion is basically identical to a bowling ball in essentially every facet. So I was going to go there next, but if we're talking about its form on pizza, the bowling balls do not chop up as easily as onions, I believe.
That's true.
If my sources are to be trusted.
If we're going to move on to bowling next, I thought with a bullet, we would all agree that pepperoni should be Wii Bowling, because it is far and away the most bingeable and addictive of them all.
It is like in our limited North American sense of pizza, it is the default pizza. Even though we all have our personal preferences, like it's the default.
That's a great point.
The Panago that's across the street from me. You can walk in there. They have like a walk-in special for pepperoni pizza. It's not for any other kind of pizza. It's just like you get for you like $12 or something. Get a large pepperoni pizza. Walk in only.
This is true. And actually, just to talk about like how I think when I got the PS3 Move controllers, the first game I got was a bowling game, followed by Tiger Woods, which had access to using the Move controllers as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, because they were definitely going for what Nintendo had tried to do with those. That's no secret, and like it had to have a bowling in it.
What's the last memory anyone here has with a PlayStation Move controller?
They're still lasting. PSVR.
Oh, I guess they are used for PSVR. My bad. Damn it.
Last year,
I'd like to point out that we're 2 generations later, and those controllers are still being used. That's how great they were.
Can't be beaten. Can't be beaten. Okay, so
should have had sticks on them.
Do we all want to commit to having bowling being pepperoni, or do we want to?
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't seem particularly, and we might as well just start nailing them down.
Sure.
Yeah, and I agree. Nothing has changed about tennis and the extra cheese, so we should do that too.
Yeah.
Tennis and the extra cheese. All right then. Okay, so bowling is pepperoni and tennis is extra cheese. That means that we need to find pairs for baseball, boxing, and golf with mushrooms, onions, and sausage.
I think actually we've discussed this, and I think it kind of pairs out when you look at it. And I think the sausage probably should be baseball.
Sure.
The golf should be mushrooms, and the
boxing should be onions.
Wait,
how does that sit?
I don't remember anymore.
I feel like onion is the one odd duck out here, where I feel like it's not immediately obvious which sport we should pair that one with. Because I feel like when we think about onions,
surprised.
Problem with onions, right? They're very tasty when cooked correctly, but they're also, a vegetable that we associate with, sadness and pain. And I don't know, there's not like, again, I don't think that the motion controls were particularly responsive with Wii Boxing, but I don't really associate that game with like sadness or pain, for example.
Now, in real life, I associate golf with sadness and pain because I think golf is abysmally boring. It's much more entertaining when it's digitized in Wii Sports. But if we're going off the real life counterpart, I would compare Onions to golf because I'm not a fan of golf.
Tucker, do you have a copy of PGA Tour 2K21?
I do not know.
From PS
Not
Plus?
just sitting around. Oh, no, I don't think I honestly, I don't think I added it to my library. Not gonna lie.
I was going to say, I should just want to do a stream with you to see if I can convert you. But if you didn't redeem it, then don't worry about it.
Well, I've got Mario Golf's fucking Super Tour, whatever it's called, Super Rush.
Well, we could do that one. It's not a great golf game.
There's also Switch Sports Golf coming out. I don't focus on golf games very frequently, unfortunately.
Okay. No problems. Never mind. Let's just keep moving on. Okay, well, where do we want to go here, guys? We got 3 left to pin down.
Well, let's just ignore the onions for the time being. We'll figure that out.
And whatever's saddled with it last is just, the loser, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's how it works, yeah. I'm actually surprised onions made the list. I'd never put onions on my pizza.
Onions are fine when they're cooked. I just don't eat them when they're...
Yeah.
I've gotten... At my advanced age, they've gotten better, but, they need to be mixed into something.
With your wisdom and your experience.
Exactly.
Onions have become a greater source of joy. But hey, that also tracks. I do feel like golf is a sport that improves with a person's age. It certainly is associated with older people experiencing it, and maybe that correlates with onions.
So here's what I'm thinking, slightly narrowing things down. I feel like onions have to be either baseball or golf. I don't think that they should be boxing because,
no, of course not.
As we've discussed, onions are a very complex vegetable. They improve with age as your, palate, becomes more sophisticated. And I feel like that corresponds very well with both golf and baseball when you consider just how kind of complex the rules are that you're playing with, as opposed to something like boxing, which is, pretty straightforward. I'm not saying that boxing is an easy, no brain sport, but when you just sort of compare the sheer number of rules and factors that you have to consider in golf and baseball, I feel like the comparison is pretty clear.
Sure, fine by me.
Yeah, that's a good argument.
And so, reverse engineering it from there, I feel like we got to decide that either mushroom or sausages should be boxing.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit tough because I would say I agree with Nathan's original claim of sausage being boxing due to the musculature nature.
Sure.
But that would leave golf with mushrooms then, which I'm also not opposed to. Or I guess no, baseball with mushrooms. My bad. Doesn't really bother me.
AJ, do you have a opinion on this?
Baseball. Okay, I'm thinking of baseball and mushrooms, right? Yes, golf is an incredibly boring sport, but people also say baseball is very boring as well.
We not say golf's boring. It's very fun.
Okay, now I don't want to introduce too big of a wrinkle into this, but onions are quite similar to baseballs. Now,
that's true.
They're basically the size of a baseball. They're
if one splits open on your face, you will probably cry.
It's a great point. That's a fantastic point.
Yeah,
but I do think that if you put onions with baseballs by that logic, mushrooms with golf and sausage with boxing does kind of pair out pretty nicely, in my opinion. My logic train tracking there?
I'm trying to dispute it, but I can't at the moment.
Does anyone disagree with my some might say home run of a logic train?
Let's backtrack let's backtrack for just a second here. You know what? Originally I wanted to associate it with mushrooms. I'm okay with having boxing be sausages. AJ, if you're down to have boxing be sausages, I will make it so.
let's box with our sausages.
Absolutely. So that's what everyone's been saying.
Yep.
Wii boxing and sausages are now partners in crime.
I think we have an episode title there somewhere.
Maybe. All right. So now we have to pair up mushrooms and onions with golf and battering up.
Now, if we want to throw another logic train into this, I would say that in terms of flavor profile matching the energy level of these two sports, onion is certainly the higher intensity flavor, and baseball is certainly the higher intensity sport. Both mushrooms and golf are significantly more mellow in their comparative experiences.
I actually agree with that line of logic. Also, mushrooms can make you cry, and
Sure.
Sometimes people cry when watching baseball because their teams do really well, or they get like a hit,
or their teams are not doing very well,
or they do a bat flip and then other teams cry.
Yeah, golfing, like, that's not like a very crying ish sport, is it?
No, unless you blow a huge lead.
No, I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
I think we've got a winner here in terms of logic trains.
Yep, I agree. Let's do it. Let's put it in stone.
All right. Well, in that case, golfing is going to be mushrooms, and onions are going to be paired up with baseball. Okay.
Congratulations, everyone. Half the job is done.
Yes. So just to review it for the viewers at home, we decided that Wii bowling would be pepperoni, Wii tennis would be extra cheese, Wii boxing would be sausages, Wii golf would be mushrooms, and finally Wii baseball would be onions. Now we have to rank the sport and pizza topping pairings from 1 to 5. I know that we probably all in our head have had our internal rankings of these sports for quite some time now, but I'm interested to see if the associated toppings mix things up a little bit. Does anybody want to start? Anybody want to throw out their first suggestion?
I feel that the clear number one, from multiple angles that we've talked about here, I think would be bowling and sausage. Bowling and pepperoni. We all enjoyed Wii bowling. No one's going to argue to pepperoni on a pizza. I feel like that's a clear first place in my opinion.
Unless you are anti-bowling or vegan, then
a great point.
Who's going to argue?
Yep.
No, I don't think any of us are vegans. So,
all right. Well, in that case, can't be beat. Bowling and pepperoni are going to have to go in the number 1 spot.
Now, is there a clear number 5? I think it'd be interesting to start with the ends here.
Yeah. Start on both sides and fill her in.
Exactly.
I think of all the games that I played baseball the least.
Yeah, I can't say I have any particular memories with Wii Baseball, to be honest.
The thing about Wii Baseball is swinging the baseball bat was a lot of fun. Everything else with Wii Baseball was kind of whatever. I don't really remember a whole lot of it.
It was fun multiplayer when one person was pitching and the other one was to bat.
Yeah.
I don't even remember there being pitching as a part of it. I don't know if I ever experienced that.
Yeah, that was part of it.
And I don't remember it being all that great.
And at the very least, onions, the little bit of flavor onions can add to a pizza adds a little bit of excitement. And if somebody gets a home run in baseball, there's gonna be a little excitement with that. So I think at the very least,
what
onions have to go above.
Baseball should
onions
be
have to go
5.
above. It should be higher than number 5 because mushroom should be at the bottom.
Ooh, Nathan, how do you feel about that?
I don't think mushrooms should be at the bottom. I think golf was one of the better games that people enjoyed playing. I think it was a more robust game than baseball.
It certainly is one of the most memorable sports in the Wii Sports collection.
It takes way too long to chew through an entire 18 holes of golf, and it takes way too long to chew through a mushroom because it's a weird texture.
Wasn't there a 9 and 3 hole option as well in Wii Sports?
I think so.
Yeah, the baby mode and everything, but
I'm just saying you don't have to do the whole 18 if you want to do a smaller
yeah, but
one.
if we're talking about them as a whole, pun intended, then you kind of have to consider like the entire game of golf, which is 18 holes. You have to kind of consider the whole mushroom.
It's an excellent point.
For the record, I enjoy the whole mushrooms and I enjoy the whole 18 holes, if that's what we're talking about. But it wasn't necessarily relegated to 18 holes as part of the Wii Sports game.
Where are we thinking of putting Wii Boxing and Sausage? I thought that right off the gate we would be like, oh, this has to go at number 5. But seems like we're not as uniform in thinking as I thought.
Oh, boxing would go higher.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed Wii Boxing. I never say no to a sausage.
Yeah, I thought it'd be closer to 3.
I think I saw it in the chat there. What is pepperoni if not a sausage?
If not sausage, persevering, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would have no.
Kyle's a poet.
I would put, based on how we're all feeling about it, I would put boxing at number 4.
Okay.
And my argument
not
being
quite
that,
the bottom.
Like, again, as I previously discussed, I think it was the jankiest of the games from a technical standpoint, but I can't deny that I still had a lot of fun with it. I definitely got a workout a couple of times, which definitely made my parents happy because I kind of tricked them into getting me the Wii on the basis that it would be a exercise machine, what definitely was not most of the time. But I feel like I kind of, I have to kind of like acknowledge its faults.
So I would put boxing at 3.
I think 3 sounds good to me as well. And I'm gonna throw it out there. I think from its lack of discussion period in this whole thing, I would say extra cheese and tennis might be the bottom.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to shit on cheese or tennis. Wii Tennis was perfectly fine, but certainly least interesting. We've had more interesting conversations about all the other sports here.
AJ, I just want to very quickly, what's your thoughts on sausages and boxing?
I mean, pepperoni, if pepperoni is also just a sausage, right?
Yeah.
I think it has to be number 2. At the very least, like if pepperoni is the default sausage for a pizza and bowling is the default, it is like the one everybody's favorite, the one everybody went to once they were familiar with Wii Sports, the one everybody went back to. Once everybody's familiar with pizza, everybody can go back to pepperoni. In terms of sausage, if you want to spice it up a little, you add some sausage. Maybe you put up them dukes, get them fisticuffs going, and box. I think
it's interesting how Kozi thought this was going to be a last place finish, and we're all really high on it.
Yeah.
Majority of rules here. It's democracy.
I said a moment ago that I would be willing to put it at number 4. AJ, you said number 2. Nathan and Tucker, you both said number 3. Do we want to put it at number 3 and shake hands?
I think that sounds perfect. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely not expecting it to land there, but I can
an upset on the Wii Pizza ranking.
Yep.
Okay.
There's a game they never got around to. Wii Pizza. What the heck's up with that?
Cooking Mama.
That's a good point.
No, that was an NFT mining thing or cryptocurrency mining thing.
Another great point. Lots of great points coming around today.
Yep.
Okay, so let's. I don't know where we go next. Let's talk about tennis and
again,
extra cheese. I think.
I don't think
I've never ordered a pizza with extra cheese.
Neither have I. No, honestly, I was shocked that it was one of the toppings because I don't even count that as a topping.
When I was a kid and when I was in high school, I would get extra cheese as a topping because I thought it was cool. But then as my palate expanded, I wanted to play more than just tennis, and I wanted to do more than just waggle the Wii remote around. Mm-hmm. There's more flavor out there in the sports world, in the Wii Sports world, than waggle, 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 waggle.
I think we should put Wii Sports at the or Wii Tennis at the bottom.
Yeah, wow. I proposed that, and I still stand by it.
Everybody here thinks
I agree with Tucker.
I still think it should be above mushrooms, but if I can't get that, then
I would say mushrooms. Obviously you're not a fan of them. I personally am, but I'd say from an objective interest perspective, mushrooms are a more interesting topping than extra cheese.
They chew weird, though.
They're great. I really like mushrooms.
Cheese is great. More cheese is good.
No, it makes it crap.
No, it's supposed to make you not crap. If you listen to Weird Al's Constipated, it makes you blocked.
Okay. Well, dairy does me no favors.
Okay. Well,
runs right through my system. Shoots right out.
How was that calzone on the weekend you had? How'd that
shot right out the other side? Looked the same.
Woo. It was a rough ride, like the last 15-20 minutes. I really needed to get home.
You were turtling.
As much as I don't want to put...
It was prairie dogging.
As much as I don't want to put Wii Tennis at number 5, I feel like because we've collectively just had more interesting things to say about the other two remaining sports, I feel like I kind of got to put it there for the time being and just put an end cap on this argument. So Wii Tennis and extra cheese are going to go at number 5, which means that we still have the second and the fourth slot to fill.
Man, I think mushrooms and golf should be number 2.
That's the most obvious thing that has happened today.
Yes.
Now, we have 3 other people. Who would also argue that?
I gotta be honest, I would do so too. As we discussed earlier, baseball was really fun when you were the person swinging the bat. The rest of the experience, not so much.
And you know what? I'm sorry, AJ, but I gotta side with them. I played a lot more Wii golf than Wii baseball, and I'm not gonna lie, mushrooms, as I said, one of my ideal toppings on a pizza. So I'm gonna go for number 2 as well.
I will say
unacceptable.
I will say, AJ, I'm largely deferring to Nathan Tucker's judgment on this one when it comes to golf, because I actually did not play a whole lot of golf, but it wasn't because I didn't like it. It was more just a thing of I just don't particularly care about golf in the way that I cared about the other 4 sports.
I don't particularly care about mushrooms, but
looks like we did it, folks.
Oh boy,
and there we go. So just to recap,
this is a great list.
Yeah, to recap for our audio listeners at home, at the number 1 spot we have Wii Bowling and Pepperoni. At the number 2 spot we have Wii Golf and Mushrooms. Number 3 we have Wii Boxing and Sausages. Number 4 we have Wii Baseball and Onions, and finally at number 5 we have Wii Tennis and Extra Cheese.
I think that sounds perfect to me.
This is a good list. Nobody will be mad at this.
Absolutely. No.
Except for me.
Nobody on the internet can disagree with this. It feels perfect.
Somebody put mushrooms on my pizza, I will be upset.
But just pick them off. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing about mushrooms. They're so easy to pick off. They do not.
They are really. It is really easy to ignore golf. Really, really easy. You can just put it aside, pick it off, and put it aside. Yeah, at least it's not something like olives, which completely ruin the flavor of the pizza even after you pick it off.
Oh, I do kind of like olives on pizza. It makes them salty. I don't like olives normally, but it has this like salty taste to the pizza. I didn't think I'd like olives on pizza, and it turned out I really, really did.
So before we close out this episode, earlier when I read out the list of the top 5 most beloved pizza toppings, I said that they were in no order. In fact,
you lied.
Yes, I did lie. The article does actually state what percentage of people preferred said toppings. In order, 64% of people said pepperoni, 56% said sausage, 54% said mushroom, so right in the middle there, 52% said extra cheese, and in the number 5th slot, 48% said onions. And just
we should put out
Go ahead.
We should put out some sort of straw poll or something and see if we can have the same ranking of Wii Sports games or something like that. Just put it out there in the ether. Like, hey, what would you rank
on the Twitter?
Well, yeah, but except Twitter, you're limited to
4.
To 4. So maybe Elon, if you're listening. No, I'm kidding.
Update.
And just
more than 4 options.
Just for shits and giggles, the article also lists the bottom 5 most disliked pizza toppings.
Anchovies
are on there.
Sure.
They're totally
in the number 5th spot, 35% of people dislike this one, pineapple. Number 4th slot, 39% of people dislike this one, broccoli.
What?
I like broccoli. I've never put it on pizza.
44% of people disliked artichokes. I feel like
I've had artichokes on pizza. It's okay, actually.
Yeah, I'll enjoy an artichoke on pizza.
When people talk about like artichokes and broccoli on pizza, I think about those like square pizzas that you can get at like delis, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. The number 2nd spot, 52% of people disliked eggplant on pizza. Now that's when
I like eggplant on pizza.
Your eggplant emoji off my pizza.
Yeah, so I used to work at this, one of my first jobs, I worked at a small Italian restaurant in Thunder Bay, which is a very small town. It was like the fanciest restaurant in town. And they made a pizza with eggplant on it. It was actually really good. I don't like eggplant normally, but it was mortadella and eggplant. And it was like one of their most popular pizzas. It's actually really good. I just think people who are saying they don't like eggplant on pizza, honestly, probably haven't tried eggplant on pizza.
Yeah.
I guess
I've got no problem with any of these, actually.
I think you raise a fair point, Nathan. I guess it is also one of those things where like those people that knew how to make those pizzas really knew how to kind of extract the flavor out of that eggplant when they made it. So I don't doubt your judgment. And finally, the number 1 most hated one was anchovies, which 61% of people disliked.
Yes, let's go.
I don't hate them, but anchovies are one of those toppings I always go into thinking I'm going to like more than I end up liking them. I always find their saltiness to be a bit overbearing, but I don't hate them. All things.
I once was tricked by just the appearance of a pizza. These particular anchovies were so similar looking to bacon strips. I thought they were just strips of bacon on this pizza because it was, a little covered in the cheese and everything, kind of hard to see. So I bit into it, and it was an anchovy, and right in the trash it went. No, thank you. Real rough.
When you're not expecting it, I can certainly see disliking an anchovy.
Nobody likes a salty surprise like that
in their mouth.
Yeah, unexpected salty surprise in their mouth.
Great point. Everyone's always telling me that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like we've solved this problem. Let's get a straw poll out there and with 5 things and just see how these Wii Sports rank among the original Wii Sports, especially with Wii Sports being in the zeitgeist with the new Wii Sports coming out.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's finish off here. Thank you for tuning in to Press YYZ. If you actually, first, before I go into the whole thing, spiel, Tucker, why don't you give everybody a chance just to remind them to resubscribe after they unsubscribed to your YouTube channel?
Yeah, no, you definitely should ignore my pizza preferences because those do not apply to my content creating skills. It might lower my public perception, but I'm okay with that. I'm a controversial fella. So subscribe to Backlog Banter. Check out our videos. We've been doing a lot recently. Actually, our review my review of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare alongside both Andrew Roscoe and Daniel Navaroli will be releasing tomorrow, as it is being recorded and as we are live. So look out for that review from our Back COD Banter series. And check out Quest for the Bestest, which is on podcast services. And go follow me on Twitter at Tucker Hazell, one word with 2 L's in the Hazell. So that's me.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you for jumping on. Don't forget, Kozi is going to start streaming, so make sure that you are re-followed on Kozi if you haven't followed, or if you've left following him. Hopefully you haven't. I just said re-follow first, and I felt like I had to come up with a reason as to why I said that. And don't forget to follow me on Twitch as well at @the_NMac. I'm not going to be streaming for a few weeks after tomorrow regularly while I'll be traveling. But when I get back from traveling, Tucker, we should play some Mario Golf.
I would not be opposed to that.
Okay, we'll figure something out. I think it could be a fun stream. So that being said, thank you for tuning in to Press YYZ. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, and review the show and on your podcast service of choice. You can also check us out on Twitter at Press YYZ and slide into our Discord at invite.gg/Press YYZ to keep the conversation going. Until next time, thank you for playing.